One of the things that we were telling you about last hour was this apparent new policy. I don't know if it's a policy or what it is from the Biden administration that is appearing to limit the ability of doctors to order early treatment medication for people who are fighting coronavirus. And I first saw some of this. I had a friend who is active in Republican politics, lives in my town, and was talking about, I had shared on her page this county judge, Mark Keogh County judge, saying that when he was preparing for emergency response to Hurricane Nicholas, they got news that about Montgomery County, that there was they've been hosting a regional monoclonal antibodies infusion center, doing over 2,000 infusions. Vaccinated, unvaccinated have received it, but the Biden administration is now metering how many doses of Regeneron are sent to Texas, and thus limiting how many are sent to that Montgomery County location, telling Texas to reduce its use of a therapeutic treatment that this judge has said literally saved lives and is reducing hospitalization. It's not a supply issue. He thinks it might be temporary, but maybe he would like to think so, but it's not. Manufacturers confirm supplies are ample, but it's due to the Defense Production Act. But the White House and its agencies are the only entities who can purchase and distribute the treatment. So this sounds like the federal government trying to determine what kinds of treatments that you can receive and politicizing lives. This is insane. Now, Congressman Chip Roy of Texas, he sent a letter to the Department of Health and Human Services on Monday asking about this change in policy, questioning the Secretary Xavier Becerra, saying that Texas has utilized these treatments. This has been effective. What's happening here with this monoclonal antibody treatment? Congressman Roy joins us on the phone now. I know he's on the run. We appreciate his time today. Congressman, what is happening here? And is this a new policy change? I mean, what have you heard from the Health and Human Services Secretary?
Well, first of all, Dana, thanks for having me on. Thanks for paying attention to this when most in the mainstream media will not. The vast majority of the people I talk to that I represent, doctors, people who are trying to save lives, have been complaining for a long time about the obstacles that keep getting put up when they're trying to provide treatment, actually help people, rather than these bastards, frankly, in Washington, whose only solution is to offer mandates and to say that if you're not vaccinated, you should basically be left to die and then force people into hospitals to be intubated. Instead, we have treatments that work. We know that they're working. These monoclonal antibodies that are working. We've seen Governor DeSantis saying that we should put those up. We have places in Texas that have been doing that, like Montgomery County. And it became clear to me that they were starting to restrict the supply. Doctors started telling me, wait a minute, HHS is starting to make it impossible for us or difficult for us to get the supply we need to be able to go help people. So I sent a letter to HHS a few days back saying, guys, what are you doing? We need a briefing. We need to know what's going on. Got some of my colleagues on it. And then immediately within 24 hours after sending that letter, lo and behold, we're now allegedly getting a briefing tomorrow. I'll find out. Most of the briefings we get from this administration are total garbage, but we'll listen to the briefing and we'll see what it is they're saying. We'll try to put them on the spot. A briefing is not the same as a hearing, as you know, in public. So right now what we're seeing, and you've talked about it, a post on Facebook by the county judge in Montgomery County down near Houston, where he's basically infuriated as they're going through the hurricane situation. They've been had a infusion center for monoclonal antibodies, and they've been successfully doing that over 2,000 times, both vaccinated and unvaccinated. And now you've got HHS coming in and saying that they're metering how many doses are sent to Texas and limiting how many are sent to the Montgomery County location. So that judge is furious. They have no right to do this, just like they had no right for the president to issue this unconstitutional and unlawful order last Friday, which I've called on Texans to disregard and the governor to back up Texans to disregard.
This is crazy. Talking with Congressman Chip Roy of Texas, who is demanding that the Health and Human Services Secretary Xavier Becerra answer questions about the limitation on behalf of the federal government. They're limiting orders and shipments of monoclonal antibody treatments to HHS-approved administration sites. And it looks, I mean, it's hard for me, Congressman, to figure out any legitimate purpose for the rationing of this Regeneron. It's been successfully used before. Many people have successfully used it. this sounds more like a political move than one that follows the science. Do you feel the same on that?
This is 100% a political move. I will, of course, always listen to what someone's telling me about whether there's some sort of supply issue we need to be made aware of. But my understanding from people who understand this is there is not a supply issue, that we need to allow doctors to be able to go through their normal channels, go get this, of course, allow states to figure that out at the state level, and that there's no reason for HHS to be involved in this, and that, frankly, it's inherently political. The federal government has been trying to put up roadblock after roadblock after roadblock to any possible treatment that doesn't fit within their whole regime of command and control from Washington, to tell everybody what to do and when to do it. Immediately, of course, at the outset, they were opposed to the vaccine because it was something that was being produced when Donald Trump was president. But now everyone must get the vaccine, or you're somehow a leper and should be excluded from society, even if you have natural immunity because you've had the virus, which we know 40 plus million, if not many more, over 100 million Americans have some form of natural immunity, even though 76% of adult Americans have already had one shot. These guys are using this as a power play, and they're interfering because they want to control healthcare. They want to control the market. That's what this is all about. They want to destroy everything about the capitalistic free market, free enterprise, freedom, federalist, limited government system we have that has produced the greatest country in the world, and they're doing it as we speak. And I actually believe firmly that President Biden is now committing on a repeated basis impeachable offenses, abandoning Afghanistan, ignoring the crisis at our border, and now with these mandates and abuse of power, interfering with the rights of Texans and Americans. And I think we've got to do something about it.
Talking with Congressman Chip Roy of Texas, and yes, and you said that there's going to be a hearing, but it's not going to be something that the public's going to be able to watch. You said that that's going to be this week or next week.
Yeah, so tomorrow we're allegedly getting a briefing from HHS, and we will listen. We will take notes. I will report back. I'll put it out on social media. I'm happy to, shoot that to your team, Dana, as soon as we get the information.
Yes, I mean this is stunning. Last quick question for you, because you said you noted too, because the manufacturer said this too. This is not an issue of supply, but apparently the White House is using its power through the Defense Production Act, which is something that Trump used when we were expediting PPE, et cetera, and trying to make sure that there was enough of that being manufactured for first responders. But that the White House is now saying, oh, no, our agencies are the only people who can purchase and distribute Regeneron. So they're really trying to chokehold the supply of this. To me, I just can't take seriously any federal government that says they're about saving lives when they're actually about rationing therapeutics for political purposes that may end up costing lives. That makes people hesitant, not just over vaccines, but trusting this administration over everything else. Congressman, your final word on this.
Yeah, for multiple years now, I've been talking about the need for healthcare freedom. Now, look, we need freedom in all walks of life. In particular, we've been losing healthcare freedom. We've been turning over power and control away from doctors and patients and to not just the government, but insurance bureaucrats that are funded by government through crony capitalism while they get rich. And then they tell us what to do. And then you end up like I am. Despite popular belief that Congress did not exempt itself from Obamacare, I'm on Obamacare. Yet I pay hundreds of dollars a month, a lot, like $700 or $800 a month, and I can't go back to MD Anderson if my cancer comes back, Dana, because MD Anderson isn't on my plan. It's a bullcrap plan. Coverage is an absolute falsity that they've been selling and then hoodwinking people into turning more power over to the government. And that's related to this. We've been empowered the government to have control of our health care. We need to break that apart. We need to restore power to the people. We need to take this back and allow doctors to go get the ability to provide therapeutics and take care of people rather than shoving people into hospitals to die on an intubated when their family and loved ones can't get to them. When we have treatments that we know have a significant success of working, particularly if we go do it early. Yeah. And it's unbelievable that the federal government would potentially be rationing this when we have manufacturers telling people that they've got plenty of supply. But look, I'll reserve judgment. I'll talk to some people tomorrow, but I'm going to call this manufacturer the Montgomery County judge is referencing, and we're going to go find out the truth.
Yeah, that's right. And I fibbed. I actually have one more question for you. This is about the border issue, though, talking with Congressman Chip Roy. Yeah. We appreciate your time. I saw footage, drone footage from Bill Malugin. He's out of Fox LA. He's down in Del Rio. The source of migrants waiting to be processed is now over 8,200. That's just for today. And this is, he posted this at 8:03 Central Time this morning. Yesterday it was 4,000 a.m., doubled in one day. Border Patrol's overwhelmed. It looks like a festival. There's people with tents, blankets, thousands of people outside. Apparently the pandemic and all these mandates and the forced the coercion and all this stuff doesn't exist at the border. That is a major crisis.
Yeah, Dana, I just posted a link. I've been getting updates from my friends at Border Patrol who are overwhelmed. Obviously, the morale's down. They're getting no support from the administration. Our country's under siege. The latest is now what we're seeing at Del Rio. Senator Cruz and I went down and met with ranchers, met with local officials in Laredo, McAllen, the week before last. I'm telling you, the circumstances were dire. Now we have 5,000 to 10,000, depending. I don't even have a full count yet, that are just flowing into Del Rio at the border. They're now under a bridge waiting for processing. Border Patrol is trying to figure out what to do with them. I just posted a video that was a real-time accounting from my friends down at Border Patrol. Heavily Haitian population. The cartels make more money bringing people in. The farther away they are, the more difficult it is to get to the United States. So, it might be a few $1,000s for Mexicans, a few more $1,000s for Northern Triangle, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, but it'd be a lot more money for Haitians and then a whole lot more money for the, 112 Chinese nationals that we intercepted in McAllen in the last year. And what people don't understand, your listeners, we have intercepted almost 10,000 pounds of fentanyl. That is the amount of the last 3 years combined, Dana. We've had 100 pounds in the first 4 months in our communities in Texas this year when we only had 10 pounds all of last year. And fentanyl is killing Americans. Almost 100,000 opioid poisonings and deaths in the last year. Your president, your administration is absolutely screwing the American people unconstitutionally, committing impeachable offenses on a daily basis, ignoring his duties to enforce the laws of the United States. We've got to act, and we can't wait 3.5 years. We've got to stop this, what's happening to the American people.
Yeah, and of course, all of this happening as the president of the United States is speaking, accusing governors of Florida and Texas to do everything they can to undermine life-saving requirements he's proposed. Direct quote from the president of the United States. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, if they're playing around with people's lives, I think that there absolutely needs to be a look at an impeachable offense with this, because this is not this is not constitutional at all whatsoever. This is criminal. Congressman Chip Roy, we appreciate your attention and your fire on this, and we'll look forward to seeing what happens with this discussion with this tomorrow with HHS. Thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Dana, thank you. God bless you. Really appreciate you. We'll look forward to coming on again.
Of course. Thanks so much. It's Congressman Chip Roy from the beautiful Republic of Texas.